Welcome back, Holistic Soul Sisters. It's me, Mandy Rose, your holistic health coach, spiritual mentor, and astrologer. In today's video, we are going to talk about Jupiter retrograde. Now, this is a retrograde that I've been anticipating for the entire year. Jupiter is my best friend when it comes to all the planets. I'm obsessed with him. I love him. And he is in the zodiac sign of Pisces right now. He's at home. He is feeling so good. So we are going to dive into this video, what it means when Jupiter is in Pisces. He is retrograding back to Aquarius. So what does that mean? We're going to talk about what we can expect during a Jupiter retrograde and what we can anticipate. Let's start with the basics. Jupiter is going to be going retrograde in the zodiac sign of Pisces at 2 degrees of Pisces on June 20th. He will then be turning around and going backwards all the way until 22 degrees of Aquarius. Then he will station, go direct, and go back over this path in the sky. And in December of this year, in 2021, he will be making his permanent residence in the zodiac sign of Pisces for one entire year. And we'll dive in a little bit more what that all means in just a moment. First, I want to talk about Jupiter himself as a planet. Jupiter is the planet that brings us luck and good fortune, abundance, joy, prosperity, new opportunities. Jupiter is the friend that you go out with when you need to have a good time, right? When you put on your beautiful dress or your party pants and you go out to the club and you dance all night, you go out with your friend Jupiter because you always know it's going to be a good time. Jupiter always expands the energy around him. So if he's around planets that are beautiful like Venus, he's going to bring more beautiful energy. But if he's around planets that are a little bit more tough, like Saturn and Pluto, he's going to expand that energy. So Jupiter is all about expansion. He loves money, good fortune, brand new opportunities, and all areas of our life. Now, Jupiter also rules the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. And that is all about higher wisdom, knowledge, education, our belief system, our truths, our faith, and our ideals. He's all about the higher mind. Now, Mercury is all about the lower mind, the analytical, the deciphering facts from fiction. But Jupiter is more about the higher conscious mind. He wants to know about other cultures. He wants that piece of wisdom, and those little nuggets of wisdom that we get when we read a book and we get those aha moments. That's what Jupiter rules. Now, Jupiter, when he decides to go retrograde, will be in the zodiac sign of Pisces. He absolutely loves to be here in Pisces, and he has not been in Pisces in 12 years. So he's really excited to make his debut in his hometown. However, he's only made it to 2 degrees of Pisces before he has to turn around and go back to the zodiac sign of Aquarius, where he's going to revisit a couple more lessons, teach us a few more things that he needs to teach us around the zodiac sign of Aquarius before he can enter Pisces for the entire year of next year. So what does Pisces rule? Pisces is all about spirituality. It's all about being outside of the box, being fluid and going with the flow. It's represented by the fish, and it's a water sign. So anything having to do with Pisces does not want to be in a box. It does not want to be constricted. It does not want to be told what to do. And that's why Jupiter loves being here, because he's all about expansion and abundance and new opportunities and going with the flow and seeing what comes. When Jupiter is here in Pisces, it's that energy of anything is possible. So it feels really, really good. And Jupiter has just been hanging out here for a short amount of time. However, when Jupiter retrogrades, he's going to go back to Aquarius. Now, what does Aquarius mean? Aquarius is all about innovation and technology and creating the new. It's all about thinking outside of the box, but it wants to create. It's a more of a masculine energy, where Pisces is a little bit more of a feminine energy. When Jupiter goes back into Aquarius, he's going to have to focus on some other themes. He's going to have to focus more on the innovation, the technology, the forward thinking. It's a little bit more logical. It's an air sign, so it's all about the mind. Pisces is a water sign, so it's more about the emotions. So as Jupiter does his retrograde, he's going to start retrograding in Pisces from 2 degrees to 0 degrees, where he will then enter Aquarius at 30 degrees and keep going backwards all the way until 20 degrees of Aquarius. Now, the other thing we have to remember during this retrograde is that when he moves back into Aquarius, he's going to be reunited with his friend Saturn. Saturn is hanging out here in Aquarius, and he will be over the course of the next 3 years. And I'm going to tell you guys a really fun story about Saturn and Jupiter that's going to help you make sense of this retrograde and the next year of our lives. Now, if you can remember back to December 21st, we were all told about the Christmas star, right? Do you remember this? We went out and looked up in the sky and we saw this bright star in the sky, and it was actually not a star. It was Saturn and Jupiter on top of each other, illuminating the sky so bright that it looked like one star. And what it represented is the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Jupiter and Saturn walked into the zodiac sign of Aquarius side by side at 0 degrees on December 21st together. Now, I want you to remember this as I tell this story. Now, imagine you and one of your friends decides to rent an apartment together, and you sign that lease on December 21st of 2020, and you move in and you're hanging out together. Now, Saturn is discipline, structure. He's all about getting things done and creating a foundation. He's very serious. He's our tough love karmic dad, being a parent, telling us what to do and keeping us in line. Jupiter over here is all about having fun and expansion and new opportunities, and he's go with the flow. Let's try this and let's try that. And I want to make money, and I believe in the law of manifestation and abundance. Saturn's over here like, okay, that sounds great and all, but we need to do the right things. We need to create the foundation, and we need to get up every morning and go for a walk and go to the gym. So Saturn over here, structure. Jupiter over here, just abundance, go with the flow. They balance each other out. So imagine you and your friend move into this apartment and you're balancing each other out, and it's great. Now you signed a 1-year lease. Jupiter stays in a zodiac sign for 1 year. So you sign a 1-year lease, and Saturn's like, okay, Jupiter's going to be here with me. He's going to balance me out, make me not so serious. And Jupiter's over here like, yeah, I can deal with the routine and the discipline for 1 year, and that'll be great. We'll teach each other some things, right? However, by May, Jupiter was getting really sick and tired of this restriction and this discipline of Saturn. And so he said, you know what? I got to get out of here. I got to go on a vacation. I can't tolerate this. I got to get out of here, and I got to go to one of my favorite places on Earth. So let's say that's the Maldives. The Maldives represents Pisces. Jupiter ran forward and ran into Pisces, ran to go on vacation to the Maldives. And he got there and he's like, oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm on vacation. I'm going to swim with the dolphins. I'm going to go to the buffets. I'm going to swim with the sharks. I am just going to have the best time, and I'm going to be here for 6 weeks. Saturn stayed in Aquarius, right? Saturn stayed home in the apartment, and now he's all alone in Aquarius. So the parts of our lives that Aquarius rules, if you look at your birth chart and you see where Aquarius falls, you probably notice in December when Saturn entered this part of your life, this is what started to come up for you. Lessons and karma and discipline. But Jupiter was there balancing it out, so it didn't seem so harsh. Now, Jupiter left that zodiac sign, leaving Saturn all alone. So Saturn is home where he can really rule us in that part of our life, in the Aquarius part of our birth chart. He is creating more boundaries and more structure and teaching us more lessons. And he's actually retrograde right now. So he's actually he's testing us, seeing if we've matured, seeing if we can create our routines, see if we can create our own structures. So that's what Saturn's doing over here in Aquarius. Meanwhile, Jupiter's been over here having a great time. So in the middle of May, Jupiter went on vacation. And now the part of our birth chart that's ruled by Pisces has been lit up and activated, giving us a little taste, a little preview of what's to come when Jupiter makes his permanent residence here next year. So that's what's been going on with Jupiter. He's on vacation having a good time. Now, June 20th rolls around 1 month later, and he's having to come to terms with reality, and he's got to go retrograde. Back to Aquarius. He's got to go back home to the 1-year lease that he signed in Aquarius with Saturn. So right now on June 20th, as Jupiter goes retrograde, he's at 2 degrees. He just dipped his little toe into the place that he's going to call home next year. And he's got to go back and meet up with Saturn and finish out the 1-year lease in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. So that's the story of Jupiter and Saturn. I hope that makes more sense for you guys. And now we're going to talk about what does it mean when Jupiter goes retrograde? What can we even expect? Now, like I said, Jupiter rules abundance, expansion, new opportunities, our financial fortune, our higher wisdom, our education. It wants to grow and learn and become better and better every year. However, when Jupiter goes retrograde, those things kind of dry up. When Jupiter is moving forward, we can have lots of new opportunities. But when Jupiter goes retrograde, opportunities are going to slow down. Our financial abundance is going to slow down. It's very unlikely that you're going to come across new opportunities to make money. It's going to be unlikely that you really want to dive into new books and start to learn new things. And instead, what we need to do is go inward and take advantage of all the things that we have already gained. Do you have a new opportunity that has entered your life, but you haven't fully entertained it yet? You thought, oh yeah, I'll get to that, or that sounds really good, but I don't know enough about it, and I'll learn more later. Now is the time. Every opportunity that's been presented to you in the last 4 months, this is the time to start diving in, to get the facts, to learn more about it. Use the resources that you already have. Stop searching for more and new and what next, and dive into what's already on your plate. So let's say you started an Etsy store and you have really wanted to dive into it, but you've been so busy and other things have taken up your time. Well, you're not going to find abundance or money anywhere else when Jupiter is retrograde. You got to use what you got. So get on that Etsy page, spruce it up, figure out what you want to sell, and use the resources that you already have. If you've learned something about a new topic, let's say you've been learning some life lessons around friendships and boundaries, right? So you've been diving into creating boundaries and realizing what your needs are and analyzing friendships. Well, now's the time, because Jupiter rules wisdom and higher education and philosophy and ideals. Now's the time to actually put it into practice. When Jupiter goes retrograde, it's like taking all the lessons that we've learned about our life and doing it in the workbook, right? So it's like you go to school and you learn about a theory, and then you have to do a homework assignment. And in that homework assignment, you're given examples and tasks and things that you have to apply that lesson to make sure that you actually understand the lesson, right? So that's what we're being presented during a Jupiter retrograde in our life. So let's say you learned about boundaries and your friends. Now Jupiter is going to test us in the retrograde and give us little life lessons to see if we actually put it into practice and be like, oh, that's where I should have put a boundary in place. I didn't. Next time I will. So we're going to be practicing reoccurring themes coming up to things that are related to our ideals, our philosophy of life, what we believe about life. This is another big key when a Jupiter goes retrograde. We are going to have to look at self-limiting beliefs. What do you believe to be true about you, about others, about the way that the world works? And how could that possibly not be true? Self-limiting beliefs are just beliefs that we think that actually stop us from getting to our higher potential, right? All the planets, they're just life coaches trying to help us and teach us lessons so we can get to that next level, next version of us. So Jupiter is going to teach us all about our self-limiting beliefs. So that's something you're really going to have to dive into. And if you have the 2021 Retrograde Astrology Journal, when you open it up to the Jupiter retrograde, you will see that the journal prompts that I have in here are all about our belief systems. What beliefs have I been holding onto that no longer serve me? In what ways can I expand and grow? List 3 negative things in your life right now and reevaluate them by trying to find the positivity in each one. Jupiter wants us to be positive. Jupiter wants us to see abundance, but we have to get over our own shit and get over the things that we're telling ourselves in our head that's not actually true. Now, this is an interesting retrograde because, like I said, he will be retrograding first in Pisces and then also be retrograding in Aquarius. And there's going to be this shift in energy of what we need to be reassessing, because retrogrades reassess, reanalyze, redo, re-understand, recommit. Everything that's got the word re in it is what we should be doing during a retrograde season. So first, we are going to reevaluate Pisces spirituality, our connection and our belief to something higher than ourselves. So from June 20th until the middle of July, Jupiter is going to be retrograding in Pisces. So for the next month, you're going to want to really evaluate your belief systems around spirituality, your practices around spirituality, your creativity, your intuition. What are those things in your life that you need to reassess? Now, also remember, Pisces rules addiction and addictive behaviors. So this is something that might be coming up during this Jupiter retrograde, because like I said, Jupiter expands whatever energy it's around. And being in Pisces, as he's retrograding and teaching us things, he might be bringing up this addictive nature within us, wanting to reach out and overindulge in things to get away from our feelings. We might have this self-limiting belief that I am not worthy of success because maybe you were always told your whole life that you'll amount to nothing. So you have this self-limiting belief about success or money. And now with Jupiter in Pisces, he's saying, yes, we can do it all. But in a retrograde, you might start creating some self-sabotaging behaviors, right? Because it has to do with addiction. So you might be going out and spending a bunch of money that you were going to use on a down payment for your business. So you might be tempted to drink alcohol, and then the next day you're not feeling so good, so you don't work on your goals or your dreams. Things like this can come up. So that is Jupiter in Pisces retrograde. Then he's going to enter Aquarius and go retrograde in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is all about being unique, being ourselves. It's like the alien of the zodiac. It's the humanitarian. It's the part of us that just wants to be us. And so when Jupiter goes retrograde in this sign, what he's trying to teach us is, where within yourself do you not feel like you're being authentic? What is your self-limiting beliefs around showing up in your authentic, genuine self, right? Because Jupiter is about our belief systems and our faith and our philosophy. Aquarius is all about being a humanitarian, being authentic, being you, thinking outside of the box, being original. And so what belief systems do you have that are inhibiting you from being who you are? Is it that you're afraid that if you are your authentic self, people are going to judge you? Are they not going to like you? Are they not going to want to be your friend? These are the things that we're supposed to be analyzing during that Jupiter retrograde. So from the middle of July until October 18th, when Jupiter completes his retrograde in the zodiac sign of Aquarius, those are the themes you're going to want to focus on. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple do's and don'ts. If you have the retrograde journal, you'll see for every retrograde, I list in this little chart here the do's and don'ts during the retrograde season. So these are some do's for Jupiter retrograde. Do refresh your financial portfolios. Like I said, we're not going to get a lot of new opportunities and a lot of new ways to make money. You're not going to feel a lot of money flowing in. So keep your savings account locked up, be really careful about what you spend your money on, and work on your financial portfolios. Assess them, figure out where your finances are. Do you need to make more money in this way? Do you need to diversify? Do you need to find an extra source of income, right? Do you need to create a residual income so you can make money when you're not working? Assess your financial portfolios. Number 2, be really generous with others. Jupiter is all about prosperity and abundance. And so during a retrograde, we have to really do extra work to be good and nice to others because we know that karma will come back around. And Saturn rules karma. So when Jupiter gets back home into his apartment in Aquarius with Saturn, Saturn is Lord Karma, he's going to make sure that our karma comes back around. And number 3, protect your money, protect your wallet, protect your valuables. And this goes along with the first thing that I said, that you want to look at your finances. So protect the things that you have, your material possessions. And now for some don'ts. Don't get excessive, especially not when Jupiter is in Pisces, because Pisces rules addiction and Jupiter expands all energy. So be really careful about excessive behavior, giving excessive amounts of love to a certain person, excessive amounts of use of alcohol, excessive amounts of spending. Anything in excess during a Jupiter retrograde is probably a no-go. And lastly, you don't want to ignore your inner voice. This is the time to really dive in. Retrogrades are all about going inward. This isn't about other people. This isn't about doing everything for everyone else. Retrogrades are a time to kind of come within and figure out ourselves. What is my belief system? What do I want to believe in? What are my ideals? What is the philosophy I have about life? And really dive into those. So do some inner work during a Jupiter retrograde. So there's not too much else that I'm going to dive in this video on a Jupiter retrograde. If you want more information, make sure you follow Holistic Holistic Soul Sister Instagram channel. I'll be posting more information and what I do during a Jupiter retrograde to make sure that I'm harnessing this energy for my fullest potential. So when it goes direct in October, I can take the lessons I've learned and apply them into life. See, here's the thing. When the planet comes out of retrograde and it moves forward, it's got to go over the exact same part of the sky that it just retrograded through, right? So it goes forward, it stops, it pauses, it goes back, teaches us a bunch of lessons, makes us go inward, teaches us about ourselves, and then it has to go direct. And then it has to go right back on track, crossing over that part of the sky one more time. And that's when we're given the challenges in our lives to apply everything we know. So I know come October 18th, I'm going to have to put into practice everything I'm about to learn until then. So follow along my journey on Holistic Soul Sisters or on my Instagram channel, mandyrose.1111, so you can see more on how I navigate retrograde season. Don't forget, as Jupiter goes retrograde, we still have Mercury retrograde until the 22nd. Then we have Saturn, who has been retrograde and will be retrograde until October. We have Pluto, who is retrograde, will also be retrograde until October. And then also, starting on the 25th, Neptune will be retrograde until the end of the year. So we have a lot of planets currently retrograde as Jupiter starts his retrograde movement, and we have a lot more to come. We have Neptune coming up, Uranus coming up, Chiron coming up. We'll have another Mercury retrograde that happens before Jupiter comes out of retrograde. So we are going into the peak of retrograde season. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I will be putting out videos on all of those retrogrades. I'll probably do a video in the middle of the summer, kind of talking about and giving a little update of where all the planets are, a little check-in on what we should have already started learning, what to anticipate learning as the retrogrades continue. So expect that video coming up in the next few months. If you haven't gotten your copy of the 2021 Retrograde Astrology Journal, you're going to want to grab that, because even though we're halfway through the year, there's so many retrogrades that you can go back to, still fill out the journal prompts. And then also, it's not just a journal where you're going to write things, it's also educational. So you're going to learn, what does Gemini season mean? What does Cancer season mean? It's everything we talk about on Holistic Soul Sisters TV, but a more in-depth version. So to grab your copy, you'll find it in the link below. If you have any questions for me or want to book a birth chart reading, the link is also in the description box below. And I hope that this Jupiter retrograde season treats you well, and I can't wait to hear what you learn. Let me know where Aquarius and Pisces fall in your birth chart so we can see what areas of your life Jupiter is trying to teach you lessons in. And I just want to end this by saying I cannot wait until Jupiter enters Pisces, moves out of his apartment with Saturn, and gets into his own place in the Maldives, because you guys, 2022 is going to be absolutely beautiful. When Jupiter is at home in Pisces, he can bring us so many beautiful, great things. So you're going to want to know in your birth chart where you can expect a lot of blessings, abundance, new opportunities, and luck in 2022. So let me know in the comments below where that falls for you, and I will see you guys in the next video.